Today on the summit, we talk about the first two, well, actually, nope, that's a lie. We talk about matches in the Anarchy Tournament, and also we decide, Scott Mance, is he too buff or just the right amount of buff? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Reactors Summit. I am, of course, not Kristen Smith, but don't worry, she'll be back sooner or later, but I'm not going to give up without a fight. Just send a message to Kristen. So, with me today, I have a pretty epic panel. It's a full Take 3 panel, because we're definitely shooting this on Saturday at 4 o'clock when we normally do. It's not like we're shooting a day later when, people who normally can't be on are able to be on. Behind the scenes much? First up, we have host of the Take 3 live show, Jukebox Movie Trivia. It's Brooklyn. How you doing, Brooklyn?
Doing dandy. This is actually only my second ever time being on the summit, but my first as a member of Take 3. So I'm glad to be on here to talk about one of the greatest matches of the Anarchy Tournament.
I mean, guys, listen, they always say you never forget your first time, but then remember your second time when you're a member. Alright. Yeah. Like that one, sink in, advertiser friendly. We also have a man who is my cohort on the show that may or may not.
Your cohort?
Cohort. That's God. Babe.
Can I say something? The first time Brooklyn was on the summit, I bought a piece of soap.
All right.
Yeah, that was right.
Let's redo Sandy's intro and go. And next up, we have a man who is my co-host on a show that may or may have not taken away Take 3's ability to live stream for 3 months until we fought YouTube. I mean, because YouTube's awesome. It's Sandy Robinson. How you doing?
Matt, I'm good. Yeah, I love that. As one of the newest members of Take 3, we've already decided to remove all content from YouTube because we apparently can't. I can't do anything without getting flagged for it. So I'm happy to be back on the summit today. It's going to be a great episode. Happy to have Brooklyn here, and same with this guy over here.
You know what? I really want the title of this video to be like, this summit, I think it's number 52. It's just like we try to not get flagged. So, the matches we're talking about this week, they're the first round of the Anarchy Tournament. We have the Paddington 2 versus War Machine, and then we have the Odd Couple versus Zebs. So first up, we have the Paddington 2, which is Matt Ashley and Alonzo Duralde, we all saw when they were made a team. I was like, that's going to be a really good team. And we also have War Machine, which is, of course, Janine the Machine and some very, very excited rookie, whose name I did not get down.
Brian Walton.
Yeah, Brian Walton. Yeah, Abe, you're gonna just cut that to where I just say Brian Walton.
I don't know.
Just have it like Japanese dubbed, and it's just me saying Brian Walton.
Yeah. So.
Okay, Abe, that's awesome. Do that.
That's what we need to do, Abe. You have the camera on me, and we just have
Brian Walton.
That's it. That's how we do it. So of course, we start out with the promos. Matt Ashley, Alonzo Duralde. They're in Christmas attire because Alonzo wrote the book on Christmas movies. I love Alonzo's shirt, and I may or may not be going on TeePublic trying to find it because Die Hard is a Christmas movie. War Machine, of course, it was kind of more introducing Brian. Because we all know who Janine is. We all love Janine. If you don't love Janine, what are you doing? Watch more Janine. Janine's awesome. And we also got the awesome Jay Washington as well. But we start off round 1, Pack 2. They're pretty dominant in round 1. They gain 12 points. War Machine, they for a new team of a seasoned player, I don't think we could quite say Janine is a veteran yet, but as a seasoned player with a rookie, they actually do pretty solid. They end the round with 9 points. It's a pretty good first round for both teams. Round 2 is where it gets interesting. Paddington choose to spin first. They spin away from DiCaprio, which tends to be the thing. A lot of people don't like DiCaprio, or at least don't feel comfortable enough. I see DiCaprio as one of those categories that people just spin away from. And they end up landing on Kate Blanchett? Blanchett? I don't know. Blanchett. That's how we'll do it. So Paddington 2, they play it kind of safe on Cape Blanchett with multiple choice, but they do end up gaining 9 points. War Machine spin. They choose to stick with 2000s because Brian convinces not. And that sounds really bad to say. Brian convinces Janine. Brian sort of tells Janine that he feels solid in it. Janine feels pretty solid in it. They have a good round 2. They gain 7 points. Paddington is able to get a 2-point steal. The round ends 23-16 in favor of Paddington. In round 3, War Machine needs to hit all of their points to be able to take the lead and force Paddington to answer. War Machine gets their 2 and their 3-pointer, but they miss their 5-pointer, and Paddington wins by TKO. Now, this does bring up an interesting point with how the Anarchy Tournament is going to work with the veterans and seasoned players and the rookies, because Brian did not exactly console with Janine and sort of blurted out the answer that Lawson. I mean, you even saw it on Janine. She was like, come on. Do you think, because we do have other rookies entering, do you think this is going to be something we're going to see more? Or do you think a lot of the other teams are going to watch this match and kind of take note of that and be sure to and I don't blame Brian. You know, you're new. You think you have the answer. You have that 5 count coming down. But do you think other teams that are made up of more seasoned players and rookies, do you think they're going to be like, okay, listen, when we get to that 5-pointer, we need to talk it out? You know, Brooklyn, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I think this is one that each player should start, or each team should start watching, because I feel more so in the next match that we're talking about. That player sort of communication is at a low. I think they did fine for communication, and I think the one stumble was where they kind of lost the game on that 5-point question. Whenever Cara Delevingne was the answer, but they had used two of their repeats and they weren't sure where they were at, so they just blurted out something. And I think I remember saying it as a reaction, where it was like, it's this game proves that the Schmoedown is more than just movie trivia. You have to be aware of the game and what sort of strategy to go in with it. But yeah, I hope to see in the future where these more like seasoned players to rookies, it'd be more so time just to get to know each other and kind of figure out where the both that game was. So, but other than that, it was good.
Yeah, you do bring up a really great point about the communication and how that's important, and also like sometimes you just don't know where you are. Sometimes it does just take you over. It can be overwhelming. Sandy, what are your thoughts on this?
Brooklyn's 100% right. The Schmoedown isn't just the Schmoedown anymore. It's not what it used to be. I mean, it takes some like real strategy to play this game. And I think that War Machine showed their youth, I guess, in the league. Not knowing just how many repeats they'd taken, because I really do believe, hands down, that if they'd have taken that last repeat on that question, they would have come up, because he was very close to the answer, and they would have just just had a little bit more time, they would have been able to come up with that and keep the game going. I'm not sure if these guys were, on the same level as the Paddington 2. And it eventually turned out exactly that they didn't have to answer a third round question. So good for them. I'd actually like to see those two War Machines stick together for a little bit. It's just like you guys were saying. I think that if they could get some chemistry. But let's be honest, the best part of the aftermath of that match was Jay Washington crying with his team. And then all of a sudden flipping the script and being all about his next team and not
that. Like that's literally my next notes.
Yeah,
was that in post match, Jay, he's upset. Jay is hilarious. I love when he does his over emotional. He's just this is and then he just turns it off and he's just like, you know what, Ethan. They're gonna so yeah, he does. He is upset. I think that Brian and Janine, if they choose to stick it as a team, I think War Machine could be pretty deadly if they just work together more. Again, this was their first match. But Jay ensures that Ethan and Sabine, they're going to dominate. So what are your guys' Sandy, what's your thoughts on this match overall?
Well, I mean, it worked out exactly as I had put in my bracket. I thought that they were going to win. I thought that they were going to go through to the next round. The Paddington 2, I mean. But overall, I think the match was entertaining. That one mistake could have changed the, even though they would have had to get their 5 point to even tie it up. Still adding that small amount of drama did make the match completely worth watching because it did have that drama. It did have that comeback ability because we've seen greater things happen before, where, like not only did they get the 10 points to tie, we've seen people get 10 points to take the lead before and then push it back to the other team. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility. Overall, a really entertaining match. It'll be interesting to see. What happens in their next round, because I think they're going to be up against a pretty substantial opponent.
And Brooklyn, your thoughts on the overall match?
So 4 things. One, in the pre-match promos, we got to see a rarity of Jay Washington being quiet, which was super rare because like Brian pretty well stole the whole thing. Number 2, Elton John's classic "Stepping Into Christmas" has been stuck in my head to this day because of that entrance. So I bless and curse the Paddington 2 for that. The third, you gotta watch out for the War Machine. I mean, Brian has that package of great promos, and he had a really good round 1. Janine, she had a middling performance for me. I think 2000s was meh, but I think she has a great potential once they get another match or so in. And then the 4th thing, it was Duralde and Actually's chemistry from their previous work with the Flick that got them the win.
I mean, unless we forget Janine's 3-pointer, which it was Nicole Kidman. It was her and Paddington. I lost it because it was like, is this actually happening? Like, is this like it wasn't quite on the level of like a Sam Witwer getting Captain Nita, the Star Wars Fatal 5 way, but I was like, oh my god, it's literally. So you guys, just a point that I kind of thought was interesting was, with the performance of Paddington 2, if they go pretty far in the tournament and let's say they don't win, I see you shaking your head, just let me talk because this is hurting me to say as well. I just have to do this as my job. This is from a huge fan of MODOK. Do you think we see things change in MODOK? Gray Drake moves to a manager role and Alonzo and Matt choose to stay as a team. Personally, I love MODOK. They're one of my favorite teams. I love the way Matt and Gray work off each other. I think when Gray is on her game, MODOK destroys. But if they're able to get to the semifinals or even the finals, maybe this is a road to consider. I'm going to go to Sandy first because Brooklyn, he might scream me again. I love MODOK. I don't want this to happen.
It's not a terrible idea. Gray is always the more theatrical of the group, less so on the trivia end, but she still has her moments. She's still a pretty decent trivia player. It might be all right to see her like step into more of a manager role to manage those two, because she'd be able to get them hyped. Because let's be honest, they need a little help in that area. Whereas the War Machine doesn't need any help whatsoever hyping up stuff. Because if they stay together, Mike was his name?
Brian.
Oh, sorry, Brian. Yeah, sorry,
Brian Walton.
Brian Walton. There it is. Brian he has enough energy for that whole team. I didn't think anybody could out energy Jay Washington, but he certainly did. But yeah, maybe a little bit of spice, maybe a little bit of theatricality could come in handy. I wouldn't mind seeing it if she's got the time. Maybe come in and play a little manager.
Theatricality, they are powerful agents.
Mm-hmm.
Just watched Batman Begins a couple of weeks ago. Brooklyn, take a breath. It's just a what if. It's like a Marvel Comics.
So I was actually shaking my head in that the Paddington 2 are going to go far in the tournament. They play.
Oh, I thought you were shaking your head.
Play. No.
Yeah.
No, they won this match, but they're going to lose their next one. We'll get more into that later. But I'm actually going to throw in a counter offer. I think something that we haven't seen yet in the Schmoedown, I would like to see the Freebird rule come in, because I believe Grey Drake has her strengths. And I feel like if the three of them are available, what they can do is they can assess teams that they're going into, and it's like, well, what are their weaknesses? It's like, well, maybe Gray covers one of their weaknesses, and maybe Alonso covers the other ones. Like maybe that day in particular, Gray and Alonso are the ones to go in. I think all three of them have good promo skills, and I think Gray especially her performances in the teams so far. Like she's like her and Matt have taken down great teams in full character. Like you got to think about it, they're a challenge away from being the team champions of the world. But that's my thing. I think the Freebird might be the best start for them.
So a counter offer. You see, in my profession, I'm a lawyer. Sorry, I love my cousin Vinny. What if I was to kick the ever-loving shit out of you? Do I get the money? So yeah, it's. I like that idea. I think that would be a really smart way to move forward. Honestly, I think having more Freebird rules could be a smart way to move forward just in the Schmoedown in general. Is just if you have these factions, why not use it? Why not? I mean, I know top 10 is probably never going to break up, but like, why not have a 5 horseman stable and use it? Have some matches where having Merle and Inman on a team together is the best way to go, and then Riley and Nost on a team together is a better way to go. Just I think that's a great point you bring up. But let's move on to our next matchup, which is the odd couple of Mark Andreyko and Jeff Snyder with their manager Roxy Stryer, and Team Seb's Scott freaking Mance and Sean Gerber. Before we do this, I actually got to sit down with Scott Mance in a one-on-one interview, and I think we should just go to that right now.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. I've built commitments while I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy.
Oh, guys, we didn't get an interview with Scott Mance. You know why? Scott Mance is doing way too much. He's got way too much freaking energy. He can't sit for an interview with us. So, yeah. The odd couple. My God, Mark Andreyko, Jeff Snyder. Boy, did they deliver like we thought they were going to deliver, just in promos I'm talking about. And Scott Mance is never less exciting than when he is doing a promo for a Schmoedown. Sean, it's interesting. Promos actually, if you pay attention to Schmoedown, can actually be fairly telling of teams because of how they work off each other just in a promo. you saw already from the promos that I kind of saw Sean was a little taken aback by the energy Scott was displaying, something that you didn't really see Inman deal with. But getting into the match, so in round one, the Odd Couple and Zebs, they have a fine round one. It's a back and forth, but it ends 9-7 in favor of the Odd Couple. So moving into round two, the first thing to note, Scott Mance is very upset seeing Ben Bateman on the movie release date's wheel slice. This brings up the point. Do you think we're ever going to see, even if it's just a Patreon exclusive match, a Ben Bateman versus Scott Mance all movie release dates match to decide whose face deserves to be on the wheel slice? I'm going to go to Brooklyn first.
I think that is going to. I think that should happen. The way that they've been kind of like, not necessarily teasing it, but they're kind of like Scott Mance more so trying to push it. I think that will happen, but I think also that they're going to throw in Sam Levine. I know that he has been considered by both the community and the roster that he is a darn good player in the release date. So I think he would be a good one to add, and then. I think that way everybody's happy with whoever wins. I don't think there's ever like it's never a one-sided affair. I think all three would be pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, that would definitely be an interesting matchup to say the least. Sandy, what are your thoughts on this possible movie release dates match?
I think it's a great idea. I think that it's a storyline. I think that you could play that. Ben hasn't been, as dominant in singles as I think that he wanted to. I think that I think that he's got great potential in singles. But Scott's also in the same bout. He sometimes he can play his butt off and he can do really, really well, and then other times he falters and he can't stay focused on what he's doing. So I think for like an actual matchup, I think it fits both people. And I mean, it's really up to Ben Bateman at this point. He's got the slice. It's sort of just like when Robert Meyer Burnett was Inner Geekdom champion, and Jason Inman came in there trying to make it a triple threat, and he was like, "No, get to the back of the line." He can sort of do that. It's his wheel slice right now. So if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to. I think it would be in his best interest to do it. And it will be entertaining as all get out. So
it would be very entertaining. But moving into round two, Zeb spins first. The Odd Couple, Jeff makes a note to say that unlike with the Patriots, they're going to spin second because the Patriots move was always spinning first. But Zebs, they spin first. They land on classics, and despite Sean's noticeable reservations, they choose to stick with it, but Mance makes the mistake of thinking classics would be like 1980s, even though that is modern classics on the wheel. And Zebs, they struggle around two. They only gain 2 points, and the Odd Couple is able to steal away 2 points. That was why Mance chose stick with it, but it was hard. The Odd Couple, they spin and they hit Spinner's Choice, and they choose to go with that bitch, Cameron Diaz. They say in the post match that it was just because it was a slice that they both felt fine in, but they did it to mess with Scott for sure. And they end up gaining 9 points. Zebs is able to steal away a 1-pointer, and the round ends 20-10 in favor of the Odd Couple. Round 3, Zebs, they're in a corner. They have to hit all their points. It's just a thing in round 3 sometimes with teams where you have to pick. You don't know what the question's going to be. You have to pick one person. Sean knew the answer to Scott's question. They weren't able to get the 2-point. The match ends with the Odd Couple winning by TKO. So now this brings up the point of we're going to be seeing the odd couple of Mark Andreyko and Jeff Snyder, which, by the way, what were you wearing, Jeff? I love you, but what were you wearing in this match? Jeff Snyder versus Paddington 2, Alonzo Giralde, and Matt Ashley. Now, we don't have to get super deep into this, of course, when we do the previews for the matches, when this does become a match, but are you guys excited for this matchup? Who do you think has the edge going into this matchup? I'm going to go to Sandy first.
Oh, wow. Well, if I go by my bracket that I have, then I have Schneider and Andreyko moving forward. I do not think it will be easy. I think it will be a fantastic match. But I will say this: whichever team can gel the fastest, who can become a team, because we saw both of these teams take extraordinary amounts of time trying to pick things, like wheel spins and which direction and answers, and that's the problem. That's the great thing and the problem with this anarchy thing is that you've thrown all these people together. Each of them have their own personalities and their own. And when you get two people like Matt Atchity and Giralde that are very similar in their tastes, it can really bite you in the end. Whereas I think that Andreyko and Jeff, even though they have a hard time picking the wheel category because they're so different, them being so different is going to allow them to, I think, answer more questions over the long game. So I've got to give it up to the Odd Couple this time because not only is that a great name and it fits them perfectly, but I'll echo Matt Kearns' thoughts here. I know he was trying, and I give it up to him, but Stacey Howard, he is not. I don't know what he was doing with that outfit, but it sure was colorful.
Which, by the way, you mentioned, and I was on the Summit that week, but Stacey, that was great. Ellie Sattler cosplay. When I did my top 10 list for top 10 women in like science fiction action movies, Ellie Sattler was number 2 to Ellen Ripley. So good work on that. Brooklyn, what are your thoughts on that cosplay that Jeff Snyder was doing of a guy in a New England bar?
I mean, he stuck out like a sore thumb. He took the attention, which I think was great because I think Mark Andreyko likes being sort of like quiet, sort of like not behind the scenes, but he's not very. He's not out front and attention grabbing whenever he doesn't have to. But I do think that Odd Couple is going to destroy the Paddington 2. But the key to victory here is that they have to agree on some sort of subject to agree on, much like Sandy said earlier. I think Andreyko and Snyder they have very differing strengths. Where you look at like Jeff Snyder, where he has like sports movies, Oscars. A lot more like Scorsese and David Fincher, whereas Mark Andreyko has like your musicals, your directors, your comic book movies, your even your science fiction, fantasy kind of stuff. So I think there might have to be like them sitting down for a day and being like, listen, like when we get Spinner's Choice again, if we do get Spinner's Choice again, we got to figure out ones that work together for both of us. I think. Because of how many questions it gets pulled up in her realm, and it also was the low blow to Mance, and but yeah, I think that's the key for them. The Paddington 2 are going to give them a huge fight, but I think a couple, much like I have in my bracket, they're gonna beat them.
You know what the thing is? I forgot to bring it around too. As a New Yorker, nothing made me laugh more than the what New England Providence. Oh, it's New York. I was with Jeff where I was like, he said New England. That's God, Scott, God. God,
I said it in a reaction. It's like it's pretty bad. Like I'm Canadian and I know that New York isn't a New England state.
You're Canadian, named after a New York Providence.
Borough.
And you knew that. Or Brooklyn Borough, Providence. You know what? I'm a New Yorker. I'm able to call it whatever the heck I want to call it. You can call it a borough, but what we freaking call it is whatever the heck we want. Vinny just took over there for a second there. Speaking of Vinny, he's here with the fantasy updates, or as I like to call it, Why do we even do this? I'm not even sure if the website's updating, but let's go to Vinny. Just give me. What's up, guys? It's me. It's Vinny. I'm here with your Schmoedown fantasy updates. So in first place, we got Abe, Super Epic X Team. X like every girlfriend he ever had, with 679 points. Oh, good work, Abe. In second place, we got Team Corgi with 618 points. In our third place, we got Morton and Schmo Boys. Them Schmo Boys, they only got 573 points. But them Schmo Boys, they schmoes, In fourth place, we got the loser Matt with the Yodi Alliance, and he's got 438 points. Per usual, Matt can't win jack. In fifth place, we got something I call Matt every day, Tiny Carrots, with 375 points. Then we got the guy who claimed at the free-for-all he was going to be so far ahead, the contest wouldn't even be worth it. Mind you, he's in last place now with 347 points. That being Chrissy the Clock with the Penguins. So that's it for your Take 3. We also got a guy named Movie Geek who is so far behind, I don't even bother mentioning them anymore. Movie Geek, stop watching movies and stop picking your freaking fantasy better, okay? So no one's trading, or if they are trading, they're not telling me. I don't know why. So that's it for your Take 3 fantasy update. You can follow me, Vinny, at Vinny Stallone 76 on Twitter. You can watch me and my homeboy Kermit. We rock it, which, by the way, I'm going to get straight back to that party. Kermit, it's Miller time. So thank you, Vinny. By the way, buddy, I know unemployment pays you extremely well, but if you could toss the rent money to me once a month, like you're supposed to, that would be great. But regardless of that and my problems, we're going on to previewing next week's matches, which we have what I like to call a non-match, which is the number one contenders match between the old dog, John Roca, and the legend killer, Andrew Guy. I could ask you guys about this, but if we're all going to say Andrew Guy's going to win, what's the point of even talking about it? But just to hear it, Brooklyn, how bad do you think this loss is going to be for Roca?
Very similar to another Randy Orton promotion. I think Andrew Guy is going to hear the voices in his head. They will talk to him. They will understand. They will talk to him. I think Andrew Guy is not gonna get it. I think he's gonna choke somewhere in round 2 or round 3, and John Roca is gonna get that W for the very anticipated Roca versus Bibiani match.
Okay. Brooklyn doesn't know what he's talking about. Sandy, my boy, my main man, guy who knows what's up.
But yeah, what's the question?
How bad is Roca gonna lose to the legend killer, Andrew Guy?
I can tell you now how badly I think he is not going to lose. It is.
It's obvious we have bias here, guys. I apologize so much.
Bias. I'm pretty sure on that shirt, Mr. Superman himself, Mark Yodi Riley's on that shirt as well.
He is. Don't remind me of this stuff. I already hate Fat and Harlow.
Yeah, I know. No, I mean, Andrew's been playing so far, above his head right now, and good on him for doing so, showing and proving to the world that he's not just a team player, not just somebody who, is being carried by his by his teammate, Ben Bateman. He's legit. He can hold his own in the ring. There is nobody in this game that takes it as seriously as John Steven Roca. He plays this game to win, just like LeBron plays to win for championships, just like Jordan played for championships, just like Kobe played for championships. These guys he's not in it to lose. And I think that he comes at it from a different place. Mm-hmm. Dan Murrow was just coming back. He was coming back for a specific reason. That was to tangle with Guy. He ended up losing. I don't think Roca even. I don't think he's looking ahead. But I don't think that Andrew really comes onto his radar too much. All he wants is another shot at the title. He wants to be a 2-time champ. He wants to solidify his face up on the Mount Rushmore of Schmoedown. And this is how he gets to it. So it's just another competitor to him. And we'll see when he's really motivated. You saw what he did to JT after he hadn't beaten JT at all in like 4 different matches, across the realm, demolished him. So I have a lot of faith that it'll be a good match. But in the end, I've got the Outlaw coming ahead and moving on to face Bibbs.
Yeah, pulling off the biased character. I think this is really going to be a great matchup. I think, like you said, Sandy, Andrew has shown that Ben's not carrying him, that he knows what he's doing. He has his heel persona. He has heel of the year locked down. It's like Bibiani pretty much has, for one of his entrances, he has entrance of the year locked down. Andrew Guy has heel of the year locked down. That it's just a fact. The one thing about this, and I think the great thing here is whoever wins, the storyline is going to be really great, because we either get Roca versus Bibbs, which has been talked about since last year's singles tournament. I wonder if the stipulation of the cowboy hat and the boot kissing is still in effect. That would be great. But we also have, if Andrew beats Roca, we have going into the title match a guy who has beaten 3 of the 5 former champs and who beat every member of the 5 Horsemen. And that would be a really... And if Andrew wins the belt, which again, the Schmoedown, you never know what could happen. If he won the belt, that might be the greatest storyline ever in the Schmoedown, of a guy who everyone was like, your teammate carried you, the quote unquote. That sounds good to say. I just mean, like, every GOAT is quote unquote, because how do you really define that? Dan Merle comes back, everyone goes, oh, he's gonna get demolished. He TKOs him. He TKOs the first 2-time champ. He beats Roca, and then he beats Bibbs and wins the belt. I mean, he doesn't even have to defend the belt at that point. It doesn't matter. He can just throw the belt away. And which if you listen to my interview with Andrew Guy, I want that interview at the end of him winning the belt. It would be amazing. But I'm
gonna give Thad and Harloff a free one here. If you want to do another little video about somebody's ascent or descent, you can take Andrew Guy. If
Andrew Guy wins the belt, I think,
if he gets the title,
no offense to Roca, this is no offense to Roca, but if you're still working on Bespin to Destin, you gotta do one on Andrew Guy.
You do, and it should be called From Suspension to Contention.
That's a great title. Take 3. We just have great ideas for the Schmoedown. You can DM us at Take 3 Video on Twitter. So that's going to be a great matchup. And then we also have another great matchup, which is going to be Who's the Boss, the team of Mark Riley and Ben Bateman with the manager Tom Dagnino going up against Crazy 8 Greats, which is Eric Zipper and Haley Fouch. I believe I have that right in my notes. This match is going to be crazy. I can't hide my bias really in this one. When it comes to teams, sometimes you just can't hide your bias. They put Ben Bateman and Mark Riley on a team with Tom Dagnino managing it. I have them winning the freaking tournament. And also, their team name is one of my favorite 80s sitcoms. So, yeah. I'm sorry, Zipper and Fouch. Who's the Boss is winning. Sandy, who do you think's going to win in this one?
I actually think it won't be as much of a beatdown as other people think. I have Riley and Bateman winning too in my bracket, but I have it as a close match because I think if Riley can keep up with Zipper, then all Ben has to do is play better than Fouch, and they've got the win, which I think is completely possible. I think Eric Zipper came out, really fast out of the blocks, but I think that he had a little bit of a tumble, but let's see how they play. But I don't think that. I think you're right. I think that Riley and Bateman are going to be underrated in this league right now, and they shouldn't be. People shouldn't sleep on these guys at all because they've got the potential to go all the way. They're not who I have going all the way, but they definitely got a chance.
Brooklyn, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
This is actually one of two upsets that I have in the whole tournament. I actually have Zipper and Fouch beating Riley and Bateman. For this reason, I think Riley and Bateman have less chemistry than Saturnine and Draco. I think Dagnino might just throw a wrench in the plans. And I think Zipper and Fouch complement each other more. Like you look at Fouch, and she has more of a horror-esque background, and then you have Zipper, who's really well in Geek, but then has some other non-IG strengths. And I think it's not going to be a blowout, but I think it's definitely going down to the last question, and I think it's just by a coin flip, Zipper and Fouch.
I think your whole chemistry thing, you need to watch the latest episode of the Riley Roundtable that Bateman was on, because they got a lot of chemistry, actually. And I mean that, I don't mean that as free plugs, but hey guys, you should probably go and watch Red Roundtable. Episodes drop every Thursday. You can also support Mark Riley on Patreon. He does a show with his manager now, Tom Dagnino, called Screaming at the Void, only at the $5 tier, which is really awesome. But if you bump it up, you get more awesome tacular tiers as well. Just free promotion all around. You can find the link here, patreon.com/Mark E. Riley.
# free marketing.
Woo! But you should, because I think they have chemistry down. But that is a good point you bring up about Fouch and Zipper. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it will be a close match in a good way. Like, not in both teams are struggling, it ends like 15-14. I think it's going to be high scoring, but it's going to be which I'm happy with. So that's it for this summit. There's nothing else to talk about. So, Brooklyn, where can the good people find you online?
You can find me on Take 3 Productions, running not one but two shows. Jukebox Trivia on Mondays, where we cover various trivia, debates, and playlists or countdowns. You can also find me on Thursday with Late Night with Take 3. This one coming up is going to be superhero video games, with the release of Marvel Spider-Man a couple weeks ago. It came out to great critical success. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TheRealBK10.
And Sandy, where can the good people find you online?
You can find me all over the interwebs. I host and play in matches in Full Metal Media. I host and play in matches in Worldwide Movie Games. But you can see me and my partner, Matt Kearns, every Saturday for Rhyme and Reason. A new episode will drop on next Saturday. Go and check the first episode out, where we talk about our favorite movies and get into a pretty detailed Star Wars conversation afterwards. So, like, no bullshit here, guys. We talk about Star Wars a bit. So go in there, please comment, and tell us what you'd like us to talk about, because we listen to you guys. So that's that. You can see me on other Take 3 programs with Brooklyn on the late night. Just come and watch us, guys. Oh, and by the way, Patreon set up, or GoFundMe set up for your JTE, for JTD's accident. Please, we're not asking or telling you to go and give money, but if you can, it would be greatly appreciated. Everybody needs help. Thanks so much.
Yeah, that's a great thing to bring up, of course. You can also find Brooklyn. The episode just aired last night, depending on when this gets dropped. Malcolm's show, Rankum. Malcolm sadly isn't on this episode, so he doesn't get to do his usual plug of Rankum, but they're doing top 10 or 12 Simpsons characters, which is really awesome, because I love the Simpsons so much. Groundskeeper Willie better be on that list. But regardless, you guys, as always, you can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovie611 on YouTube, and right here, co-hosting I was about to say Second Look. I'm so used to doing them. When co-hosting Rhyme and Reason with Sandy Robinson every Saturday. You can also find me as the intermediate host of the Summit until Kristen Smith comes back. You can also find me hosting Second Look when I finally decide to bring it back. And you can also follow Take 3 on Twitter at Take3Video. I believe it's the same on Instagram. And please join the Facebook group. Get into discussions with all of us there. Watch all the great content that we're posting pretty much daily. I think we've gone to the point where every day of the week there's at least one video going up. To my knowledge, I'm not really totally 100% sure on that. But please subscribe, like, and share this video around. Word of mouth helps. So on behalf of my whole panel here and on our fantastic editor, Abe, thank you for watching and take care.
I need to buy some cocaine after this shit.